guys, it is time for, you heard it, Chiefs, Ravens. We are talking some NFC, AFC championship games, and we are getting into it with the Chiefs visiting Baltimore here. Baltimore favored by 3.5, Scotty. Total set to 44.5. We are going to get to our best bets after this, these two games, and we are going to mix it up a little bit. We might have some prop bets we might throw in, talk through some things. We went 4-0 last week between you and I, Scotty. There's a lot of leans that we were discussing that, I had a couple, you had a couple, and you were all over the Chiefs. I think I was all over the over for that San Francisco. So, between the two of us, we've been crushing. And then the Lab Rats coming in, they're 1-1 so far. We're going to improve on that this week. But, Scotty, do you want to go first on this one, or do you want me to kind of, talk about some of the sides here on what,
I actually want you to go first.
Okay. All right. So with this game, there's a couple things that I'm going back and forth with on this one. Now, we talked a lot about the Chiefs last week being a very healthy team, going in and having an advantage there. That's not necessarily the same case this week. So there are some injuries on the Chiefs side. I think your boy, the guard, what's his name? Joe
Tooney.
Joe Tooney is not looking good, which I think that's going to be somewhat of a factor here. I think that the Ravens have been, they've been looking okay so far. Lamar hasn't exactly been, slinging it around, but he's been doing it on the ground. I think one of the advantages that the Ravens have is the fact that they could run the ball. That's their identity. The Bills had a little bit of success, especially from the quarterback side of things, running the ball last week. Now, this week, I think the Ravens present a tough struggle there. I think there might be an injury to the free safety who... I think there's some injuries in the secondary there with some of them. Scotty, you might have to correct me on those. But as far as this game goes, that all being said, it's crazy to me that a lot of people aren't jumping on this game being more of a close game than anything else. If I had a best bet, which I already kind of locked in this week, Scotty, because I thought it was going to go back down to 3. On my personal side, I bet Kansas City plus 3.5 in this game. I think that they're the right side here. I think that they have just the ways to keep themselves in these games. I could see this as a close game. And given the circumstances of the Ravens and the Chiefs and how they got to this point, the defense for the Chiefs has been fairly good. They've been really good. And their top defense, I think we could talk about over-unders for the game. I think that might be in play when we're taking a look at, this 44.5. That could be something that maybe we kind of identify, maybe a prop bet of, some unders. I think Lamar Jackson's going to have some success in this game. They're going to try to do what they can to take him away, but they try to do what they could as well against Josh Allen, and he got his, and we still found the Chiefs ahead in that game when it was all said and done. So, Scotty, if I'm leaning anywhere in this game, and I have some stats here that can kind of reinforce both the Ravens and the Chiefs sides a little bit to kind of give an idea of maybe reinforcing some of these thoughts, but I want to get your thoughts first on where you're at as well.
I'm on KC again. I've been on KC, and people are like, excuse me, you're always on KC. Like, you always bet KC. I don't really bet KC unless I'm confident. And I will say, I was very confident with the Miami game, like extremely confident. I was very confident with the Buffalo game. I'm still very confident in this one, but I would rank this one third because of the injury stuff you brought up. For the other two games, the Chiefs were the healthier team. they're likely not the healthier team going into this one. Joe Thuney, All-Pro guard, first team All-Pro. That is certainly a loss. The good news is we have Nick Allegretti, who's been a guard for us for forever. Been on, some of the Super Bowl winning teams and played on those teams actually as a starter. So he's got experience. He came in the fourth quarter and he played well. So hopefully that's not huge. Willie Gay is going to be a big one for me because he's at our linebacker spot. He had a neck injury that he was questionable last week. He played, but then he went out early. He says he's playing this week. So I'm sure he'll play. Whether he re-aggravates the neck is the question, because he might be a big part of the shadowing of Lamar Jackson at the linebacker spot. So he's very, very key to this matchup if you're a Chiefs fan, needing him to play. Beyond that, Mike Edwards at safety with concussion protocol. He got a concussion first quarter, the Buffalo game. So we'll see if he can play, but in his place, Shamari Connor, a rookie, played pretty damn well. He was the highest graded defensive player, I think, from PFF, but I wouldn't put too much leverage on what PFF says, because they're a little crazy. The Ravens have been the best team in the AFC this year, Chris. I mean, they have not only won games, they have blown out teams. They blew out the Lions, like we talked about. They blew out. Let me go to it, but they blew out. Obviously, I mean, manhandled in the second half the Houston Texans last week. They blew out the 49ers on the road. I mean, blew out, but by 2 touchdowns. They destroyed the Dolphins at home. They destroyed the Seattle Seahawks at home. Not only have they been good, but they've been good in dominating fashion, and their defense has been stellar throughout the season. Least amount of points given up in all the NFL this year. But what might surprise people is the Kansas City Chiefs are number 2 in that. So I think during the regular season, the Ravens gave up 280. I think the Chiefs gave up 294. I mean, this is a huge mismatch at quarterback. I don't care what you guys say. This is a big and it's weird because Colin Cowherd all this week has been hyping the Ravens, but every other year he's like, what's most important in the playoffs? It's quarterback and it's coach. Now when you look at the coaching matchup in this one, Andy Reid obviously phenomenal. John Harbaugh's great. I think John Harbaugh is a phenomenal coach. Maybe hasn't had the overall quite success of Andy Reid, but like really, really great coach. So that's pretty close to level playing field. Quarterback's not. It's just not, Chris. I mean, people are failing to realize that Patrick Mahomes is the GOAT. He just is. And I saw an analogy that I loved on Twitter this week, Chris. Mahomes is to Brady as Tiger is to Jack Nicklaus. So what I'm saying with that is, like, you can count the trophies if you want. If that's all that matters is the trophies, that's fine. Obviously, Brady has more. Jack Nicklaus has more majors than Tiger Woods. But you know damn well what you see with your eyes. Okay? You know damn well. And we can talk about it. We can talk about it. Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs, win percentage, first overall among all-time ranks in quarterback position. Total yards per game, first overall in the playoffs among quarterbacks, all-time. TD to interception ratio, first all-time. Passer rating, first all-time. Completion percentage, first all-time. Don't tell me that he's not. He is better than Brady. I understand that Brady's the most successful quarterback that we'll ever maybe see. Because I don't know if Mahomes can get to, what did Brady get? 7? 6? 7? But like, there's so many stats, Chris, and everyone's like, yeah, but the Chiefs' offense was different this year. They weren't the same offense. They didn't have the same weapons. They don't have their Tyreek Hill. They don't have the Kelsey's aging. Their other wide receivers drop balls. The Chiefs against the Bills this past week. Taking away the plays the Chiefs knelt the ball, which was, I believe, 4. 1 in the first half, 3 at the end of the game. Averaged 8.5 yards per play. That's the highest per play average Mahomes has ever achieved in his playoff lifetime.
Yeah, what happens if you take McCall Hardman?
Yeah, I mean, listen, there was some mishaps that happened due to some players getting the ball when maybe they shouldn't have. But like, there's so many stats. You look at conference championship games, TD to interception ratio all time. Mahomes is at 7. He has 14 TDs, 2 interceptions. The second best in history is Drew Brees with 7 TDs and 2 interceptions. Half as good. We could go to, I mean, there's so many things. You talk about the Bills game last week. The Bills, in the history of Josh Allen era, 17-0 in the history when Josh Allen does not have a turnover. He's now 17-1, Chris. Everyone wants to like get on Josh Allen last week. Josh Allen is elite. Josh Allen is definitely a top 5 QB, if not a top 3 QB in the league, and he played very damn well last week. He just ran into the GOAT. And I get the GOAT and a team that's been far more successful and plus 3.5. I know the Ravens were a better regular season team, but come on. These two players have played 4 times against each other, Chris. In those 4 matchups, Lamar Jackson has 750 yards passing to 1,500. Mahomes literally has twice as many yards passing in 4 games against them. 12 TD passes for Mahomes, 4 for Lamar Jackson. 2 picks apiece. It hasn't been close when they played each other.
Well, and here's the thing. Like, you know, of course, the defense of this as well, right? And some of the reasons why you believe, and I believe, that they should be able to cover the spread. We know that Lamar Jackson as a favorite is different than Lamar Jackson as an underdog. Also, Mahomes as an underdog is 8-0-1 against the spread as well when it comes to, you know, just covering games. And so that being said, I do think that this game will be a little bit closer than what people expect. I think that one of the biggest things is the disadvantage of defending the running game, which is what the Baltimore Ravens do the best, right? They average 160.6 yards per game, best in the NFL, and that's an area where I feel like the Kansas City Chiefs haven't really defended the best. But you know, you have Patrick Mahomes. You know, he's going to go against a legit defense that's healthier now. They're getting guys back on offense. They got tight end coming back, right? And they got a couple other players Andrews coming back. They got a couple other players. Well, I don't know if he's going to be 100% by any means, but there's going to be a couple players coming back on defense. I know that this is going to be the healthiest defense that the Patrick Mahomes has faced because Miami and Buffalo were not healthy teams defensively. So there's been some issues with, you know, those units not being able to stay healthy or, you know, not, you know, having the full, but that doesn't change the fact that Mahomes is going to get what he's going to get. So I'm not making an excuse, but this will be the healthiest defense he's going to be facing so far in the playoffs.
It's not going to be easy. For sure, this is the best defense he's going up against. Not close. Sergeant Electro, McDermott's playoff D chokes. He's lost. Allen's lost more times to the Chiefs in the playoffs than every other team combined in his career. I think he's 5-2 in the playoffs against everyone not named the Chiefs, and he's 0-3 against the Chiefs. So does McDermott's playoff D choke? And one of those was in 2019, where the Buffalo Bills weren't a very good team. They like Josh Allen wasn't good yet, and that team wasn't very good. So like, since they've been good, they're 5-1 in the playoffs against every other team, and then 0-3 against the Chiefs. Keep close also says Brady won his 6th Super Bowl at 41 years old with Julian Edelman as his wide receiver 1. That's true. What was the score of that Super Bowl? I think it was 13-3. So who won that Super Bowl? Did Brady win that Super Bowl?
Julian Edelman
Or
got
the defense
MVP.
win that Super Bowl?
I was one got MVP that year.
Which is a joke. It should have gone to someone on the D. You gave up 3 points. You scored 13 points in the game. Brady didn't play well in that game. Now, that was the year they beat Mahomes in overtime, but Mahomes also had like the worst defense in the NFL that year. And Brady pulled it out.
So another little piece of trivia. The last conference championship that did not have Brady or Mahomes, who were the 2 starting quarterbacks?
The last conference championship that didn't have Brady and Mahomes?
Probably
Peyton.
Roethlisberger, Bortles.
It was not Roethlisberger, Bortles. You got one of them right.
Well, Bortles only made it once, so Roethlisberger.
Yep.
More recent than Bortles?
No, I never said it was more recent.
I thought. Oh, wait. Say the question again.
The last AFC championship game that did not have either Brady or Mahomes.
So you did say it's more recent because I guessed an answer that didn't have either of those two, and you said I didn't say it's more recent than that.
It's not more recent than that.
I don't understand then.
The last time an AFC championship was played that did not have either of those 2 quarterbacks was 2011. It was Roethlisberger and Mark Sanchez. Since then, every AFC championship game has had either Tom Brady or
Either or.
Oh, Bortles and Roethlisberger played in the division round. That's where my confusion was.
Yes. I was waiting for that to click in. None of those teams even made the Super Bowl that year.
Yeah.
So some interesting. So we're gonna have some bets on this one, obviously. So we're gonna be mixing in some prop bets. Maybe throw these out there. Currently, Lamar Jackson, 66.5 total rushing yards. Which, by the way, last week we had Josh Allen 72.
I'll drink to that.
Rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. So, given the circumstances of what the Chiefs are going to be able to stop, we'll keep an eye on that one as a potential prop. As far as some of these others, there's like some first half, first half bets for like the spreads, who we think was going to jump out to a faster start. Maybe that depends on, I think maybe Baltimore might start out quick at home, but then, maybe fade fast. I could see Patrick Mahomes coming back in this game to win it, after. Here's the thing. If you're Baltimore, you don't want to be playing catch up against Patrick Mahomes, at least with a running game, right? So you have to come out fast, which means if you're doing a first half bet, maybe I think that's -2.5 in the first half for Baltimore. If we think that they're going to be winning by at least 3 going into the timeout. So I don't know. There's some interesting ones. Kansas City over 20.5 points, Scotty, -110 as a team total. 44.5 is the.
That seems, actually, I hate that number's out there. I don't like that at all. Because it should be an obvious over.
Well, we'll have some of these to bounce around a little bit, but we'll start thinking about some of those. Just a handful, just to kind of give us an idea of maybe where we want to go. Next up, let's dive into the other side of the bracket, and that is the NFC Championship game between the Lions and the San Francisco 49ers. Currently, the spread is San Francisco at home, -7. This initially opened up at 6.5, and I wish I would have bet it at 6.5. I did not. So it's creeped up to 7. And you know what, Scotty? I kind of still like it at 7. As much of a big number as that is, and as I know Chairman's going to be like, why are you betting against my boys? I'll get into those details in a minute, but over-under total set at 51. Currently, Detroit is +260 on the money line, so if you're getting some value, that's the way to get it, because a lot of money's coming in on San Francisco, I think, if I'm not mistaken. At least last time I heard that was early in the week. I don't know if that's shifted a little bit. Scotty, what are your initial thoughts looking at this particular game?
I mean, how dare you, Chris? We have a devoted follower and chairman, wonderful guy, Lions fan, here to listen to our take, and you're just like, I wish I got it at 6.5. Now I like it at 7.
I don't like it as much as 6.5.
When I look at this, I don't know how you don't go with San Fran. I'm with you, Chris. I'm with you.
I was waiting for you to jump the other way. I was like,
and that's not to say I want San Fran to win. It'd be a phenomenal story for Detroit. I have a lot of concerns on Detroit side. Again, I think the emotion continues to weigh. I think Goff, while the weather's supposed to be good on Sunday, which is good for both quarterbacks, because we saw Purdy in the weather, and that is not good. Goff has out in the outdoors is not proven to be the same guy, and that's actually my biggest concern here. I think you have a roster. Everyone, like the public in general, one, wants the Lions to win. Two, watch the 49ers really struggle and almost get lucky last week to beat the Green Bay Packers. And people are like, oh, I can take the Lions and +7 all day, every day. I think the 49ers roster is just a little too much. I don't know if Goff can do that same scenario on the road. Until I've seen it more consistently at home, if this was in Detroit, and it was even plus, move it 3 points, I'd probably take Detroit in the points. But for whatever reason, Goff hasn't shown that consistency on the road that I want to see. San Fran is home for Goff. By home, I just mean outdoors. Actually, I just mean outdoors. I don't trust him outside. Not that I trust Brock Purdy either, Chris. I think the Lions are going to be able to score if Goff plays well. They're going to be able to hang for sure. Because that secondary for the 49ers is not actually that good. Their front seven's really good. The back four are not. Offensively, there's a huge, and the reason I'm hesitant also on this is and I know we say Debo's not even their number one, but for whatever reason, when Debo's out, San Francisco sucks. They're not good.
They take a massive step back without Debo.
Massive step without Debo.
And I heard a report,
very, very questionable.
I heard a report that I think they're hiding it a little bit though. I've heard a couple different people across different resources that I typically look at that say Debo is they're saying, oh, he's questionable. We don't know if he's going to go. He's a 50-50. I think he's going to play. I don't think he misses out on this game. I think he helps them out. But even if he doesn't play, I know they take a step back, but even if he doesn't play, the 49ers pass offense, it's number one in yards per pass against this Lions pass defense. It's not very good whatsoever. We could have, thinking about the total's actually ticked down a little bit from which is what I didn't expect. I think it was 50, it's 51 here. I think it's currently set at 50.5, so it ticked down a half, not much, but just a half point there. But I don't know. I think there might be some scoring. I do think that Goff can potentially get some points on the board here. Chairman says San Francisco is home for Goff. So yeah. He's gonna.
So you're picking a QB for your team. You taking Goff or Purdy? I'm taking Goff. If we're just solely talking QB, I'm taking
teams. Goff. It's a little different.
But there's an other side of the football, and there were 3 teams, Chris, and I kind of mentioned this earlier. 3 teams in the NFL that allowed less than 300 points this year, and they're all in the conference championship. And it's San Fran, and it's KC, and it's Baltimore. Detroit's defense, on the other hand, gave up 395 points. 100 more points than these other teams. That's where a huge concern comes in. Like, to beat the 49ers, you have to make Brock Purdy uncomfortable, and you have to make him uncomfortable early and question everything. And then if you can do that, they're very flawed and very beatable. I just don't know if the Lions defense, outside of Aiden Hutchinson, Gardner Johnson's a nice piece, but overall, they just haven't been consistent enough. They give up big plays more than any other team on defense in the NFL.
Yes.
It's concerning to me when you have three really good defense, the best three defenses in the league left as far as points given up this year, and then you have Detroit that was 100 points worse defensively.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one, and I think that...
To be clear, I want Detroit to win.
I think everybody outside of San Francisco wants Detroit to win. Everybody. So, Chairman, if you're taking just like a poll of how many people want your boys to take this dub down, I think you're going to get all of us voting for that.
He posted that. He knows.
Yeah.
He knows the Lions are America's team, but be careful, Chairman. Actually, don't be careful. You should wish. Actually, you don't want to be America's team, because if you're America's team, that just means you haven't had enough success. Because the Chiefs, back in 20, when they won their first one, were America's team, and now we're the most hated team in the world. And I don't blame people. I would hate the Chiefs too. I don't blame people. When teams win a lot, you're like, I'm over it. I want someone else. It makes sense. I hated the Patriots. Everyone did.
A couple prop bets in here that are interesting that I'm thinking about maybe throwing out there. Just some prop bets that might maybe get to the point that it might get to a win for us on our best bets. Christian McCaffrey receiving yards 35.5 is one that I feel like he can get to 35.5. I mean, I think breaking tackles is something that, they're very good at doing. Debo is one of the best in the NFL. Christian McCaffrey, once he gets the ball in his hands, he can make things happen. 35 seems a little low for me. I don't know. I just feel like the running game, even if they get up in this game, Christian McCaffrey is going to be a heavy influence, just one way or another, whether it's passing or rushing. So the more touches he gets, that could be an interesting one, Scotty. What else in this one? Ayuk
looked at props.
Ayuk's at 80 receiving yards. Seems a little high. I don't know if I want to touch that one. Jahmyr Gibbs rushing receiving yards is set at 70.5, which I don't know. I think they're going to shut between the splitting. I don't know if I want to touch any Jahmyr Gibbs props.
Well, you need Jahmyr Gibbs to have a bad game for the
I do
our fantasy playoff thing. So
I mean, his over under total set for carries is 9.5. So it's like I don't know. That's a tall order. I don't know if Debo's limited. I don't know how much they're going to go to him. Maybe Ayuk is a little bit more of a. I don't know. Maybe that's one aspect of it. Over under for team total on San Francisco points, 29.5.
I mean, yeah. I mean, usually the Lions are a dead red over team for the most part, and I could see the Niners putting up a big number here. I don't necessarily want them to. I want a repeat. It would be poetic a little bit, Chris, for the first time I think ever. It would be if the Chiefs and Lions won. It'd be a rematch of the season opener on the Thursday night game.
It would be.
It would come full circle.
Get some a revenge game going.
Yeah, obviously a different result. But.
All right, so there you go. So it sounds like you and I are both on board with Chiefs plus 3.5. Niners -7. So I think those seem safe to lock in as our top two picks, correct? By the way, we went 4-0 last week, guys. 4-0 with Scotty and my picks on the week. Lab Rats, you lost your first one. You carried us week one, the first week, and then you dropped last week. Let's get a dub this week. Rec, if you want to go ahead and try to figure out, we need to figure out a couple or a bet for the Lab Rat pick. But let me go ahead. Let's lock in. Scotty, you're good with Chiefs plus 3.5.
Yep.
And that
Equals 3.5. I wouldn't bet equals 3.5.
I think
It's
that's
not minus either.
that feels good.
It's try a plus, Chris. Try a plus.
Oh,
0 for 2, try again.
another one.
Another one.
Okay. Plus. I think plus feels a little bit better there. All right. So KC plus 3.5. We have the San Francisco minus 7.
Minus 7.
Okay.
Sergeant Rector, while you're filling this out, the Super Bowl logo conspiracy exists.
We talked about this in the beginning.
I mentioned this before the season.
You misread his thing.
NFL, say
Exists.
less.
The Super Bowl logo conspiracy, it exists. The NFL, say less, observe.
Well,
Yeah,
the
because-
only conspiracy would be getting people to believe in it and bet on, one of these two teams, and like the Vegas money and everything else comes in, and all of a sudden you're looking at KC who goes in, and all the people betting on Baltimore, just all that money down the drain.
It's not a thing, right?
It's not. It's not.
I mean, it's fun to bring up, and it's ironic. If for the third straight year it happens, it would be the most ironic thing ever, and fun to talk about it. But the NFL would never purposely do something like that. Be like, oh, we'll let you know before the season what the two team colors are that are in the Super Bowl, and you just bet those teams.
It's all about the script.
No.
It looks like next year it's going to be Saints Steelers.
Is the next year's logo already out? Is that out?
I could get odds on 1,000,000 to 1, but I would doubt that. Oh, maybe it is. I don't know. It's in New Orleans next year, I believe. Did Rec leave us? Is he gone? Did he die? Did he pass out?
I don't.
Yes.
It's
Can't
not-
confirm it passed out.
That logo's not out yet, Rick. It's not out yet. All right. So a couple more picks here that we need to get. I don't know if any over/under totals currently sounded okay for you, Scotty. You said the team total was interesting for the KC, like in a not so.
20 and a half?
You want the over?
Well, Scotty thinks it should be probably more than that. Hold on.
If you like KC, well, if you like KC money line, you like that over. Plus 3.5. I don't know if Ravens are getting a 24, honestly. Jones like Detroit plus 7. We'll be guaranteed to win a bet if we put San Fran minus 7 and Detroit plus 7 on there.
We're gonna get one of them. Let's
You could
see.
get both.
No. We can't do that.
No, we're going 4-0. So we're getting all the best bets here. 40.
This is Baltimore money line.
I probably. What's the over under on the Chiefs? Chiefs Ravens?
44.5.
No,
The team total. Give me a sec.
Oh. 20.5 for KC, 24.5 for Baltimore.
Yeah, 20.5. 20.5 for KC. Yeah. And then 24. So they're saying
24.5 for Baltimore.
Yeah, so 24. They're saying a 24-20 game is what they're saying. Baltimore.
I would say the under on Baltimore team total 24.5 in a second.
All right, let's lock it in. I feel good about that too. I mean, I think this total potentially. I mean, but you have two really good defenses in this game, right? I think there's going to be a lot of feeling out. There's going to be a lot of run game. There's going to be a lot of stalled out drives after running the ball, getting to midfield, maybe punting. I think that's going to happen on both teams. Maybe trying to control the game. I don't hate that. I think we can lock that in. So.
Chiefs never give up 30. They haven't all year. They're the only team that hasn't all year. They've once in the last 2.5 years have given up 30. At 24.5, you're not scoring 25 or 26 probably. So you're up at 27, 28. Like best case scenario for the Ravens to me is like 27, 28. I love the team total under on Baltimore.
Baltimore team total under 24.5. Okay. And let's take one in the other San Francisco. I mentioned the Christian McCaffrey. That one's dropped actually. It was earlier in the week. It was 37.5. Now it's 35.5. And I'm like, why is it dropping? It's kind of a weird line to be.
Is there like a over under on McCaffrey touchdowns prop out there?